Shalom, everyone. Very happy to be here with you. And I would like first to thank you all for coming to be here together and to show your support to Israel and your commitment to what it says in the Holy Scriptures and to the relatively newborn state of Israel. Denmark is a very special country for us in Israel because we will never forget how Denmark helped the Jewish people during the Holocaust, and we will always be grateful for the king and for the people of Denmark that saved the lives of the Jewish people during the Holocaust times. My name is Eliezer. My nickname is Moody. It comes from Moody, means cute in Hebrew. When I was young, I was cute, and they called me this way. But Eliezer, my name, is after my grandfather, who was murdered by the Germans in the Holocaust. So for me, and I believe for most of the families in Israel, the Holocaust and the memories of the Holocaust are personal memories. And Denmark is always there as a point of light in the dark times. Thank you also, Michelle, for your presentation. And believe me, after hearing you and watching the clip, I believe we all need to pray very strong all the time until Tuesday. And I hope we will all be very grateful to God after Tuesday more than in an ordinary day when we are grateful. Now, the subject that I'm going to talk a little bit is maybe far from everyday's reality these days. And I do believe we live in special times. That comes many times as we talk. I remember, I think it was Henry Kissinger who went to see one of Chinese leaders, Chu Enlai, 50 years ago, even more, to start the relationships between China and America. We are in Europe, but we're talking about two different other continents. And in between the talks, Kissinger asked him, "What do you think about the French Revolution?" And the answer was, "It's too early to have an opinion." But when I'm asked about the state of Israel and the independence-free state of the Jewish people, I think that 76 years are enough to say that this is a miracle. And the state of Israel is a miracle. And we live in times that happens. Think of all the generations that went through the times of the destruction of the temple, the year 70. Where Jewish people prayed a day after a day, 3 times a day, asking the Lord God to bring us back to our homeland. Think of all the prophecies that we read in the Bible that said that the day will come and things will happen. And now we look around in Israel and we see that those prophecies become reality. So these are special times that we are living in, and we need to appreciate that, and we need to be very grateful to God that we are living in these times. Our ancestors prayed and asked the fulfillment of different prophecies that are there in the Bible. And those words of the prophets becomes reality. Our ancestors didn't really know how those things are going to happen. You know, when you read about the prophecy that says that God will carry us back to Israel, riding the wings of eagles, and you think how it's going to happen. Not enough eagles in the world. How many people can be carried by a single eagle? Children will sit in the same eagle. What about the parents? What food they are going to serve as they fly? Today we know exactly that eagles are the airplanes, but 100 and something years ago, nobody could even imagine that this thing can happen. This is a miracle. This is the fulfillment of a prophecy. These are the words of God that we know that will become reality. The question is only when. Think of the prophecies that says that the Gentiles will carry the children of Israel back to their homeland. The aircrew of the airplanes that carried the babies as they left the former Soviet Union, when the gates were open, when the Iron Curtain was lifted, they carried the babies, they stepped down or up to the plane exactly like the Bible says. We only need to wait to the right moment to see the fulfillment of the biblical prophecy in front of our eyes. Think about other things that were written there. The prophecy about the revival of the dry bones, Ezekiel 39, I think it is. And there is a sign there of the Christian Embassy Jerusalem who supports a house, a home in Haifa that I support and assist also, which is a home of Holocaust survivors, okay? And these Holocaust survivors, they came really only skin and bones. Skins and bones that are still alive after the Holocaust, and now they're alive. Now, many of them are old, many of them unfortunately died. You know, this is the way humans are, we don't live forever. But they succeeded to revive. They succeeded to build new life. They succeeded to build families. They succeeded to build their own homeland, the country of Israel, after so many years in diaspora and after the Holocaust. So the fulfillment of the dry bones prophecy happened in our times. And we can still witness how these people who are still alive are the proof, the living proof of a very strange prophecy in the Bible, that only in our times we can witness how it happens. Think about the words of the prophets that said that we will hear the laugh of the children playing in the streets of Jerusalem. Okay, now Jerusalem is a united city for so many years, since 1967. And the children are playing and laughing in the old city, in the new neighborhoods, generations over generations of children that were born in Jerusalem, of the children of the new immigrants who made Aliyah and came to Israel and live in Jerusalem and in other places. I'm from Haifa, so maybe I'm biased for that part of the country. But the laughter of children is everywhere in Israel. Think about the desert that is blooming. It is blooming because of the know-how and because of the strategic programs that we created in Israel, bringing the water to the desert, make it bloom again. These are all prophecies that were said many, many years ago, written in the Bible, and waited to be fulfilled. And it is all fulfilled in our times. It is fulfilled in these special times that we are living in. Now, those promises of God, the words spoken by the prophets, become reality. But it's not only about the blessings that we see as the prophecies are fulfilled. We believe, and we always believe, that those prophecies will become real. But we also understand that it's not only about the privilege to live in special times. There are also commitments. There are also obligations that are put on us in these special times. And one of them, God said that very clearly, is to be a light unto the nations. It's not only to live in Israel and to take part in the fulfillment of those prophecies, it's also to do good. It's also to develop and create the tools, the instruments, the abilities to make the world a better place, and not only for Israel. We're talking about sharing. We're talking about the ability to let others enjoy the blessings that we developed successfully in Israel. When God spoke to Moses, he said that I will lead you to the land of milk and honey. Today, milk and honey are only commodities, okay? I think that if you need to choose milk, honey, gold, oil, I'm not sure what you will pick up. I'm definitely sure it's not going to be milk or honey. But there are many other things that are involved with technology, which in a way, it's the milk of honey of modern times. And you know how Israel is successful in creation, in development of new technologies, in innovation. And it is said very clearly that we need to share that with our friends. Also, as mentioned before, God said, I will bless those who bless thee. So maybe the contract is first bless Israel, then enjoy the blessings. But anyway, our part of the deal is ready. And we are ready to share. Not only ready to share, Israel shares the blessings and the innovations and the technologies with the world. If you look at recent developments, I read that Germany is going to buy the Iron Dome systems from Israel, okay? Without Iron Domes, maybe, I pray not, the scenes that we see on television from Ukraine, where drones and other attacks the Ukrainians, other means of weapons attack the Ukrainian people, can happen everywhere. It happens now in Israel. We are maybe the largest experimental field how to prevent it. That's Iron Dome. Iron Dome was developed with the help of the American government. Don't forget that, okay? That's the treaty between the nations. But Without the Iron Dome, I think that the situation in Israel would be much, much worse. We cannot even imagine what could happen in Israel now as we suffer from so many rocket attacks, different types of missiles sent towards Israel day by day, day and night. So Iron Dome was a savior for us, technical savior for us. And now we are ready to share it, and other nations would like to buy it. But it's not only about defense technologies. Take the drip irrigation, this very, very old innovation that was invented in Israel and developed back in the late 50s, where a pipe was, is spread in the field for agricultural irrigation with little holes. And instead of spraying the water like that, and you waste most of the water evaporating or just going to the wrong places, the drops falls in the exact place. When Israel developed that, that was a genius thing back in the late 50s. And the first thing that we did after testing and looking and see that it works, Golda Meir was the foreign minister in that time. She went to the African countries that just received independence and offer it as a technology for their farmers. So they will be able to develop their agriculture in a way that will supply more of their needs. Sharing know-how is a policy in Israel, and I believe it's a part of the orders or commitments that we have from God. Share the blessings. So we do that in agriculture. I mentioned the drip irrigation. We, as you know, do a lot in the field of milk products, dairy farms. The Israeli cows give more milk than any other cow in the world. We even won the Mao Zedong medal in China for raising the milk production in China. Now, I'm not joking. The Israeli cows has a medal. It doesn't help much when they go to the slaughterhouse, but that's another story. In principle, we did that with milk production. We do that with variety of growths, and now we are leaders, pioneers in the world in producing variety of different foods in what we call manufacturing or in products in kind of factories instead of in the fields. Two examples is the printed meat. You know, now we talk about creating the meat or the ability to manufacture meat, which is as tasty as other types of real meat in a kind of printers, where they will print the cells of the meat, and you eat it as a steak. Maybe that will be the time I can enjoy a cheeseburger, because it's not kosher, as you know. But this is not real meat in the sense of religious, but it is a meat in flavor. It is meat in the elements, the nutrition elements. Same is now with honey. Honey is missing around the world. We're not having enough bees flying around anymore. It's a global problem, and now we have the ability to manufacture honey that is exactly like the honey without the assistance of the bees in factories. And I can talk a lot about this kind of technologies. I don't have enough time. I'll be happy to talk with you about it later on if you like. I can give you examples of a variety of other fields where Israel is really leading or at least was the pioneer. If you think about hot water in the houses and the ability to take advantage of the solar power, we were there inventing it long ago. Desalination plants, Israeli desalination technology is the cheapest in the world, bringing the ability to bring life to the desert, not only in Israel, but all those places in Africa, in other deserts around the world where water is essential and otherwise people just die. Recycling the water, you know, the wastewater are going to recycling systems. In Israel, we are able to recycle 95 or 96% of our wastewater. Second in the world is Spain with, I think, around 60-something%. So we are really leading the world. I'll tell you a little story about it. When I was the Minister of National Infrastructures, my responsibility was energy, electricity, oil and gas explorations, and water. And the story I got from one of the people that was, many years in the office, he said that when they connected Tel Aviv to the sewage system in order to recycle the sewage water, the citizens complained that the flavor of water is not as good as it was before. So that's a point to think about, but in principle, we know how to take the water that in other places are treated very shortly and thrown away and turn it into water for agriculture in a very high proportion. This, in some places, is a difference between life and death. Speaking about water, the Israeli technology of generating water from the air. We have several companies now that do that. It's an amazing technology. It can be used in very cold places when there's not enough humidity in the air. It can be used in the middle of the deserts as well. So all in all, we are able to bring life to places where without water there is no life. I can talk briefly about the subject of medical devices and medicines. Israel is pioneering in that, and always the story of the little campion that you swallow goes inside the digestive system, comes out naturally, and can take the images of the inside of your digestive system that was invented by two Israelis that has nothing to do with medicine. One of them was a rocket engineer and the other one was an optic engineer. Both worked for Rafael. Rafael is the government company that developed Iron Dome. They went to America for a sabbatical year and one was not feeling well, and as I always tell, he had to go to the hospital to do what we call unpleasant examination, colonoscopy. And he came home and he said to his friend, you know, there's a man walking on the moon and still I have to go and do that. And that's how they developed this pill that is called the pill cam. This company went, I think, on a $500 million evaluation for NASDAQ, and then it was sold to the Japanese and a new generation there, etc., etc. But the principle is there, and I can tell you about other technologies like this. I just went to see a company before I came here, actually this week after the holidays, where by blowing the breathing air into a little tube that looks like a cigar, you are able to identify liver diseases and, God forbid, a lung cancer. And there are many other diseases that you will be able to identify. And that's a new innovative technology coming from Israel that you're going to read and hear about, I believe, I don't know, maybe in 2 years from now. Remember who told you about it first. Not that I'm getting any commission of that company, but never mind, it's important to know. So that's another example. The disk on key, the flash disk memory, invented in Israel, I don't know if you know, by a guy that sold the company. It was the first exit of, I think, around $1 billion. And after that, he did another innovative entrepreneurship and failed, and another one and failed, and another one and failed. 4 he failed until he succeeded in the 5th one. So, and that's a point I wanted to make because I think it's a very important. The Israeli character, in a way, is such that we don't take failure as a final answer, okay? Failure is only another step towards success. You have to be optimistic as a Jew because otherwise the story of 2,000 years would not end positively, right? You have to believe in the Bible and you have to be very optimistic, hoping it will happen in your times. So optimism is a part of entrepreneurship. Optimism is a part of the character. We say that if you want to enter a room and the door is closed, you get by the window. And if the window is closed, you come from the sink. But if the target is to be in, we will get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how we do it. So failure is only one step towards success. And there are many stories like this in the Israeli innovation world. Actually, I have a cousin, and you know, we are always proud in our families, that succeeded to do a nice exit. He sold the company to a very big American pharmaceutical company for $105 million. And another $400 million will come if his potential medical technology will be proven, okay? So that means that he got it for the positive thinking that it's going to work. And when that happened, I was the minister and I'm the uncle, okay? So the uncle calls the cousin and says, congratulations, there's a yofi, you're so nice, etc. And he tells to me, that's nothing, it's not really very important. Now I will have the money to go and do the research about the really important things that I believe I should deal with. So it's not about making 100 million, buy a yacht and go, I don't know, and drink some cocktails in the Caribbean. Money is only the essentials that you need in order to go forward to fulfill your dreams. And your dreams are the dreams to make the world better, the dreams to improve the world. And this is exactly the spirit of Israel that is there. And it comes for the order of being a light unto the nations. My time is running, I think, a little bit short, but another interesting field that I wanted to talk with you about is space, okay? I came across few Israeli new startups and innovative companies that are dealing with the field of space. You know, we have so many wars about territories around Earth or on the surface of Earth, but space is the next territory everybody is competing. We have the Americans, we have the Russians, we have the Chinese. I think India is looking into it. And also Israel has its small part of contribution. There's an Israeli company that is now developing medicines that will be created in space without gravity, because it seems like there are medicines that can only be made in liquid on Earth because of the issue of gravity. When you produce it in space, no gravity, it can become powder, and that of course will make it very cheap and much more efficient to distribute to the sick people. So that's in a company. I was also in charge of the Israeli Space Agency many years ago, and I remember that they told me, all the world is launching the rockets from the west to the east, because this way you are getting into the cycle of Earth much faster and you save the energy, the fuel that you need to send the rocket. Israel is the only country that sends its satellites from east to west. Why? Because on our west side you have the Mediterranean. On the east side, you have Syria, Iraq, what is there, Iran, etc. If something goes wrong and your rocket will fall, they can see what's inside. But if it falls in the Mediterranean, the fish, they don't talk, nobody can see. So that's a good reason to send it in a certain direction, right? And we have a very innovative space agency that works tremendously. They do great things. Israel belongs to a very small club of, until recently, 8 countries only that has the ability to build and to launch satellites. Unfortunately, the club received a new member, Iran, okay? So the Iranians are not only on the ground in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Yemen, in Iran, in Syria, and I hope not in Jordan soon. They are also in space. And that's very important to understand, because the struggle that we have in Israel, fighting the Islamist jihads, the fanatic Islamists that are coming to destroy, trying to destroy Israel, is not the real war. This is only maybe the forefront of today. Israel is standing there like the soldiers that stops the enemy from crossing the border into the free world. But the struggle is between the free world and the fanatic Islam, okay? They don't only want to conquer Israel or to wipe Israel, like they say, throw everyone to the sea. The big plan, or the general plan, is to take over Europe first and then America. The concept is that they need to demolish all the Satan of the world, and we are the little Satan, but there is a bigger Satan, and unfortunately that's the way they see it, of course. So it's very important to understand and to send a message to those who unfortunately don't understand that Israel is standing there not only for Israel. We are standing there for the free world. We are standing there for everyone who wishes that his children, great-children, and great-grandchildren will live in a free world. Because look what happens in Iran. That will happen every place they will be able to take power. And remember another thing that people don't understand. The abuse of freedom happens every time, again and again, when those players of evil are taking advantage of the freedom. So we need to understand that sometimes we need to think and calculate what are the means that we need to take in order to prevent it from happening. And this is a very heavy question, not for me to answer now, today, but it is a very important point that we need to go home and talk with everyone that we can see. Because some people say, what do you care? What do you mind if a person will do this or will do that? No. what you see now, even the demonstrations that you see, are not by necessary people who are so, I don't know, identifying with this situation in Israel, who come out to demonstrate and show their opinion. They go there as a part of a training process. Today, they go out to demonstrate against Israel. Tomorrow, they will go out by order of those who told them to go to demonstrate against Israel, and they will go against the regimes in the countries where they live today. And this is Europe. And God forbid, it might be America as well. So this is a message we need to explain people so people will understand. And you know, with all the success stories that I try to go through with you very briefly, and there are many more, you're welcome to address me after, and I'll be happy to talk about. You come and ask yourself, how come there are those voices who talk and say, boycott Israel, go and talk and stand against Israel, etc. And I think that some of those voices are connected to the Bible. What do I mean by that? Those who don't believe in the Bible see Israel. And if the words of God, the prophecies of the prophets become reality, that means that the Bible is true. That means that the words of the Bible are true. And if the words of the Bible are true, the next logical conclusion is that you need to believe in it. So the people who are against the Bible, the people who don't want people to believe in the words of the Bible, they need to demonize Israel. Because when they demonize Israel, they kind of try to picture the picture that Israel is not the real creation or the real fulfillment of the biblical prophecies, because it's bad, and God cannot create or prophesize that such a bad place will be created. So demonizing Israel is fighting against the Bible. Demonizing Israel is trying to prevent people from thinking that the words of God through the Bible are true. So the people who demonize Israel are the people that are against it. Look, if you check who is behind those television networks and others, what do they believe in? What are their values? You don't find the believing in the Bible as in their value list, right? So they do that, and they use very sophisticated ways to go against Israel. And these specific days are very difficult times because there is a combination of two. The enemies of Israel, which are the direct enemies, the Palestinian supporters and the Muslims in some countries and the ones who work for the Islam regimes that give them orders. Because when we stand together for the values of the Bible. We stand together for our faith, because Israel represents the fulfillment of the biblical prophecies. Now, a year ago, October 7th, was a dreadful day, a terrible day, a very dark day. We did not recover yet from the traumas, and of course, we did not solve all the issues. Cannot talk without mentioning and asking you to pray for the return of the hostages and for a full victory of Israel. We don't need just to win the war. We need to win the war in a way that we will prevent war for many years. Like it says in the Bible, peace should come for at least 40 years from now. We are just about to do it. And I hope that after Tuesday, things will not change, and that we will continue in our process towards complete victory. Because if we win there, the free world is winning. Now, we've been to very deep and difficult times in our history as Jewish people, but we never lost hope. And maybe I will conclude with sharing with you a story that's a personal story. You know, when you become a minister, there's a ceremony in Parliament, in the Knesset. You swear, take a commitment, sign some document. You never read it because you just want to sign it and to become a minister quickly. And of course, you invite all your family to be present. And as I told you, my father is he passed away, was a Holocaust survivor. In that day, he told me a story about the times of the war. And he saw how they killed his father when he was 6 years old. The Nazi soldier shot him in front of his eyes because my grandfather had a fur coat, and you're not allowed in Ukraine of that time to wear, Jews were not allowed to wear fur coats. They were supposed to give it to the Germans. It was the 8th of January, middle of the winter, 1942. And then the mother, my grandmother, and the 3 kids, they hide in some places. The family used to have land, and they gave it before the war to the local farmers. So one farmer gave them a shelter, and they were in a barn. And someone told the Germans there are Jews there. So the German soldiers came. And my grandmother saw them as they were walking towards the barn, and she said to the children, including my father, of course, "Children, this is the end. The Germans are going to find us very soon. And as they do so, I will stand first, so they will shoot and kill me before they kill you, and I will not have to see how they kill my children." They hide on the second floor of the barn, and the German soldier climbed up, and in those days, Second World War, they had those rifles with a knife. I think it was called bucket or something, at the end of it, and he stabbed the straw in the two sides of my father's head, over here and over here. He said, "Nobody is here," and they went down, and this is how they were saved. Now, my father told me that story first time when the day I became a minister, and he said, "You know, as a child, we didn't know the war is going to end. We didn't know how the war is going to end. And I could not envision myself," he said, "as a grown-up person. I could not imagine even that I will survive to grow and to get married and to have family, children. And if someone would have told me in that time," he said, "that not only I'm going to survive and be married and have children, but that one of my children will be a minister, a government, cabinet minister, and not just a minister in the free, independent Jewish state," he said, "this is something I would not even dare to imagine and dream about." And now it's reality, okay? And this reality gives us the hope. And I truly believe that as long as the gates of Jerusalem are open, the gates of Auschwitz will stay closed. And this is the purpose of us. Thank you very much for all your support. God bless you.